Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is B from Kongs R Us, and welcome to The Next Level. This is my weekly podcast show where we bring you next level guests, things, community members, and I wanted an excuse to play with my Namco arcade guns. These are my modded Gun4IRs that I have on my Big Buck Hunter build, and I already have Time Crisis on my cabs. In fact, I have the actual real Time Crisis pedals right here that you can see. You can see my socks, but I have some badass real Namco guns and pedals that were modded by Raymond Dye from Arpeg Electronics. He does some great work, and I modded them into my Big Buck Hunter cab. So this is my Big Buck Hunter cab. You can see in its full glory. I have a PC up and running, and I'm going to be testing and playing all the different Time Crisis games today and doing my own personal ranking of Time Crisis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to see if we can get them all up and running. There's Time Crisis or Crisis Zone, and then there's also Time Crisis Raising Storm. Those are the games that I have on my Time Crisis playlist, courtesy of Ray, and helping get all this stuff set up. You can play these games on a PC, but the big news is, can all of these things run on an Arcade1Up? Arcade1Up is going to be releasing, technically, right, the leaks that happened yesterday, they mentioned, hey, there could be a Time Crisis cab in the works. What's it going to look like? What's it going to play? That's part of the speculation. So today, it's a dedicated show all about Time Crisis. I've done a lot of different shows specifically about this game, and I don't know if it's something that I'm going to purchase because I've already gone the extra mile and have these really awesome badass guns here. And yeah, if this is all I can, if I already can play everything using this, I don't see a need to get the cab except for the form factor and maybe the artwork. We'll see. We'll see. It is a little bit weird playing Time Crisis on a modded Buck Hunter cab, but you got to make do with what you have. And so it's going to be a fun day talking about that. I'm going to do some gameplay in just a little bit. I do have another guest here that I want to bring onto the show. Somebody who I consider one of the light gun modding experts in the retro arcade community. And there's several of them. There's a couple of folks that I think are, absolutely light years ahead of where I am in terms of light gun knowledge, because when you think about modding and emulation, the light guns have been around for a while, but it's a little bit tricky to set up. There's some nuances. There's different programs you need to run. If you're running a Sinden, there's an extra program you need to run to get the Sinden working. You got to get borders. You got to get extra things. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I figure I usually think of myself as a technical dude, but these guys definitely have it down. So let me go ahead and introduce one of the guys who I consider a modding expert, the wheel man, but here today, he's a gunman. It's Joel Gorski from Retro Lizard. Retro Lizard, Joel, what's up, man?
What's up, B? How you doing?
Good. All right, you're a little bit fuzzy, but we can see you now. So good. Let me take this off the screen so we can just chat for a second. But yeah, for the folks that don't know who Retro Lizard is, and you have a beautiful virtual cop in the background. Tell people who you are, what you do.
I am Retro Lizard. My name is Joel Gorski. I run Retro Lizard's custom arcades. I build custom arcades. I started off modifying Arcade1Ups. I still modify them for people, but I've also moved on to building custom arcades too. I build custom light gun shooters like this virtual cop right behind me. I build custom 4-player arcades like this Terminator right here, and this one has dual Tron sticks plus a flight stick plus the push-pull spinner, a spinner, and then another spinner. I build custom pinballs, and tomorrow I am releasing my custom racing arcade, which will have 135 arcade-only racing games on it, including some of the Techno Parrot games.
Yeah, man.
It's a sit-down racer with a wheel and a shifter too.
Yeah, awesome. So, I mean, check you out. You've been doing a lot of like full service commissions from like ground out, shipping out whole cabs and everything. So you started modding Arcade1Ups. That was when you started, but now you've gone into, using, either Game Room Solutions cabs or right now you're working with Buy Stuff, right? So are you still modding Arcade1Ups? Do people still ask you to do that? Or are you like past that stage now?
Once in a blue moon. Actually, I just had locally I do it, and I ship them out too. But I just had a guy pick up an NBA Jam for me about an hour ago that I modified for him. My buddy Farley picked it up. So I'm still modifying 1-ups here and there, but I'm mainly on the big boys now. And my main seller right now is the light gun arcade. And thanks to Raymond Day and RPG and Gun4IR, we're able to have basically plug and play guns where you can just pick them up and just bang, bang, you're going, and they're running perfectly.
Yeah. So this is a 27-inch. Like, what size monitor is that
That's a
behind you?
32.
That's a 32. Wow,
32.
big
It's
boy.
32-inch
Okay.
monitor, and it is about 36 inches wide.
Okay.
It's 70 inches tall. It's on a wheel dolly right now, so that's why it's a little bit taller than I am.
Yeah.
It weighs like 200 pounds. It is heavy. It is super
Beastly.
heavy.
All right. So for folks that may be interested in getting, Arcade 1-Ups are nice because you can move them around. You can truck them around. These are a little bit heavier, but that's pretty awesome because one of the biggest complaints that people have about playing Lightgun games on a small Arcade 1-Up 17-inch monitor is just that it's tiny playing on those games. So
Exactly.
did you ever play a Buck Hunter or anything like, or any of the gun game cabs? Have you seen an Arcade 1-Up T2 at all?
No, I never played one of those. Actually, I haven't played T2 and I haven't played Buck Hunter. I know people that have them, but I never picked it up just to test it out or see how it was.
Yeah. I mean, once you
But
go
there's
big,
the Buck Hunter. It's short.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely
that
are
Buck
looking
Hunter
down at the screen.
is
For sure.
adding the way you gotta add the TV on. It was golden, man.
Yeah. All right, your audio is going a little bit in and out.
That's one of the reasons why do arcade with
I can't tell if it's my audio or if it's. Can you let me know in the chat if you guys can still hear Joel or if it's me or not? I gotta double check because I can't hear what you're saying. But Joel, if you can still hear me, people are asking what state are you in and how much does the cab that you built go for?
Let me get a job right now. I'm in New York State. I'm located in Buffalo, New York, and the full size shooter is $3,000 plus shipping.
All right. So it definitely is a little hefty on the price points, but I mean, you get full service from Retro Lizard. He does great work for folks that have been working with him as well. So it's only Lizard that's breaking in and out. All right, you're frozen. All right, got it. Double checking. So yeah, so if you can work on your reception, looks like you're working in the basement, Joel. We can't hear you, but he'll be there, and hopefully RPEG Electronics. Ray himself might be coming in a little bit later on, the person who helped mod my gun. So Retro Lizard is going to be here. He's going to be my expert. I'm going to be getting here, starting to talk about the different Time Crisis games and things that I have going on. But let me talk about some of the different modding possibilities that are available for light gun technology right now. So you mentioned a couple of them. So the ones that I have right now, this is a Gun4IR. So this is a modded Namco Time Crisis gun modded with Gun4IR tech. So essentially it could be modded into any gun shell, but this is just one shell that's here. One of the other popular versions of Gun4IR tech is modding them into a what is it called, a super jolt that also has like a little cockback action. So that's pretty cool. But you could use any gun essentially. I've seen people mod Nerf guns into Gun4IR tech. I've done a lot of content on my channel. If you're interested in it, it's a little bit pricey because it's not a full service product where you have to it doesn't come complete. It's like a do-it-yourself kit, or you can have people like Raymond Dye mod it for you. So this gun specifically cost me a pretty penny. This cost about $600 for me to mod this because the gun alone was already about $200-300. This is a beautiful conditioned Namco gun with a real cocking trigger. If I point it at the screen, it actually does the cockback feature. It feels super good and hefty. It uses an extra USB. If I hold it down, it does a little, it's just so beautiful holding this and shooting it. Like there's nothing like it. I also have this shiny pink one that's a little bit more painted with a gloss coat, but also pink and blue guns. They don't have any extra buttons on them, but they are real arcade games. So that's what these went for. There's also Sindens. So Sindens, which people know a little bit about. Retro Lizard, are you back? You're back. All right. So I was just talking
sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. I was just talking about the differences of the guns. Do you have any comments about Gun4IR? Like, did I kind of cover it in terms of it being a DIY project, putting it into any gun shell?
Yeah, I mean, Gun4IR is king. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I can't say better about it. The jolts. If you can do a jolt mod, get a jolt mod. If you can just get a Gun4IR mod, get the Gun4IR mod.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And what it uses in terms of like the light gun tech itself, if you can see it here, it actually uses 4 IR sensors on the sides of the screen. So there's no border. These are black LEDs that are like 3 on each side. So it's super accurate. Doesn't have an extra border onto it. Very, very clean. So that's how the Gun4IR works. So Joel, talk about Sindens. I know you've like had a little bit of time playing with them. Any thoughts on the Sinden tech and what that is? That's one of the most commercially available products. And then I want to have you talk about your other light gun.
You know, the Sinden, if somebody could take that technology and improve it, it would be a fantastic gun. It would never be my first go-to for a gun. There's a lot of configuration to it. If you can get the gun down, you can get the configuration down on it. The gun will work good. It'll work pretty good. But there's a lot of trial and error with that gun when you're setting it up. Lighting can affect it. Lag on your TV. Your TV's brightness can affect the gun.
Yeah, a lot of factors, right?
Yeah, a lot of factors that go into that gun. But if you get it up and running correctly, and you can get it running good, it'll be good for you. You just got to get used to turning the border on and off, or you can just set up the reshader file on everything, and your border will automatically turn on in every game if you set it up manually, game per game.
It just takes a lot of setup, but you're right, and it's probably the most, if you can get them, the lowest price point that also has like full solenoids, I would say, because it does have some really good force feedback. The solenoid versions of it plugs in via USB, and that's the only cord, which is amazing, and it has pretty decent feedback. They have a non-solenoid version, but I was impressed with how much power they can get in there with that. So those are the pros for the Sinden, about 150, $200. But yeah, the setup is the biggest pain.
That's it. If you can get past the setup, it'll work great.
Before I want to talk about the AE light gun, somebody mentioned here that they still have Aimtraks. Are you still running Aimtraks on anything? That used to be one of our big go-tos for a while, wasn't it?
No, not anymore. I go Gun4IR and everything now.
Yeah, so Aimtraks are kind of like dead tech compared to everything. What would you say about Aimtraks for folks that still have them?
Get it modified with Gun4IR.
You could, yeah.
Just bite the bullet and do it. It's not. Yeah. I mean, you're paying. I think you can get them for about $135 on eBay.
The Aimtraks themselves, the
Aimtraks themselves, and I think you can get the recoil version for $150, and the recoil is okay on those. It's not bad, it's the Aimtrak is the OG, right? I mean, it's the go-to
single light bar on the top, and
I've noticed with my drives that a lot more people have been ordering Aimtrak drives as opposed to other gun drives, because I think it's just readily available right now on eBay.
Yeah, for sure. People are selling them, but modding an Aimtrak definitely will improve the accuracy. That's one of the biggest complaints. There's a little bit of drag to it. And would you say, as we talk about Aimtraks, a lot of people also have modded WiiMotes for guns too? Would you say that's very similar in terms of like accuracy technology?
Yeah, actually, the Aimtrak is just the WiiRemote in a different gel. It's the same exact thing. But the WiiRemote works a little better, I think, than the Aimtrak, because like you said, that Aimtrak feels like you're dragging it across the screen. The WiiRemote doesn't really feel like you're dragging it, but there is a lag. There's like a delay on the trigger to the screen. I've always noticed that with those, and the setup on those are a little bit different. It's harder to do two guns with the WiiRemotes than it is for anything else, because the WiiRemote's IDs are the same exact IDs.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's where it gets a little bit more technical when we're using what is it that you use again? It's Gun4IR on me. No, the what do you use to set up the player 2?
Oh, what do you call it? The touch
mode shooter.
Right? Oh, the mole shooter. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the WiiRemote. The WiiRemote uses touch mode, but the mole shooter, you need separate IDs for the mole shooter. Without that, you only have one gun. Yeah.
All right, so that's Aimtraks and WiiMote. So we talked a little bit about that. Now let's talk about one of the newer comers that you are a US distributor for, the Arcade1Up Light Gun. Tell us about that, man. I actually have one. I'm gonna go run and get it really fast while you talk about it.
The AE Light Gun. It's a great gun. Absolutely fantastic. Stock's coming soon on it. Not too sure how long it's gonna be before stock's in. It's gonna be at least another month or two, because DF robot cameras are out of stock, possibly until late April, early May. But it is a 2-sensor gun. And you can use a WiiRemote or a Wii bar for it too. You can't use a regular Wii bar, but you can use a wireless wide range Wii sensor bar on it. And there's no software to it. It's you plug it in and you click the calibration button. You have 2 points to calibrate on the screen, top left, bottom right. Click, you're done.
This is my unboxing of the AE. I've not really even touched this yet, so I was waiting for the opportunity, Joel, to do this with you, bae. Because there it is.
Now, the only downfall to this gun is when you unplug it or when you turn your computer off, the calibration's gone. It doesn't save.
Oh, okay.
So every time you want to use it, you have to recalibrate.
Is this essentially just a wireless WiiMote sensor?
No, it's Adreno powered.
It's Adreno powered. Okay.
Yeah, it's Adreno powered. It's a 2
Yeah.
sensor bar, and
Okay.
it's a 2 sensor gun like the Aimtrak and like the Wii Remote, but it's not the same tech. It's Adreno powered.
Got it. Okay. It looks very similar to it looks like a wireless third-party WiiMote sensor, if you will, but that's the technology 2.2. We just mount this to the top. Is it always on the top of your TV? Can you do it on the bottom?
Depending on your setup, top or bottom. My TV was too high, so I had to put it on the bottom.
Okay, got it. All right. So in terms of the build itself, I mean, it does look nice. This is the Arcade1UP Lightgun. Pretty light, hefty, solid quality plastic in terms of like quality build. And then you said like one of these is the calibrate button.
Should be the center button, yeah.
The center button's the calibrate button, and then these are just mapped buttons for other functions.
Yep. The back 4 are just buttons 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And then the 2 back ones are up and down.
Okay,
yep,
and then there's a button on the front.
That is the right click.
Okay.
And the one in front of the trigger is the middle click.
Oh, there's one in front of the. Oh, there's another one there. Oh, okay, interesting.
That used to be the calibration button, but they changed it to the middle button.
Okay.
With a firmware update that they did, and so now the calibration just swapped out.
Okay, nice. And then what does the screen do like once I plug it in? I mean, I probably could test this out myself, but
it says Arcade1UP on it, but when you push the buttons on the side of the gun, it shows up on the screen.
Oh, see.
So it tells you what button it is.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well, and so feedback though, this does not have any solenoid feedback or force feedback yet, right? This one's just a plain simple gun. But did you see that? I heard there was a version that's coming out that's going to have some form of feedback.
There's supposed to be the recoil version coming out, but it's months away.
It's still months away.
Yeah, every light gun is delayed right now because the DF robot cameras are out of stock.
Oh, damn. Okay, interesting.
They've been out of stock since December. Okay. And possibly May is when they're back in stock.
Nice.
So it's gonna be a while before.
But is it recoil though, or is it rumble? I heard rumors it was a rumble, not a full recoil.
It was supposed to be a haptic recoil.
Haptic recoil. So like you
would still feel something. I know, and I never actually held it, but I think that's rumble.
Yeah. So this one, for example, has a rumble motor. If I hold it off to the side, you can kind of hear it. So it's like
you put a rumble motor in the Time Crisis gun.
Yeah. So he has the solenoids working, and then he has a rumble motor in it too. So when it's shooting off screen, it rumbles. I don't know what function or why, but it does. And so it's one of the extra reasons why it costs money. He's like, there was a rumble motor and a widescreen lens, and I was like, whatever you want, Ray. At the time, I felt like Ray and even you were just like, they were my light gun junkies, or I was the junkie and you were my dealers. Essentially, it was like, whatever you want, just put it in, man. Just charge me whatever you want. I want the light gun. And then Ray got me with these pedals, man. These pedals are real freaking pedals. Have you had any of these from him, or do you have your own pedals?
I got mine yesterday. I have
you got yours? Oh yeah,
he suckered me. He suckered me. He did a chameleon powder coat, and I'm the lizard, and he suckered me into that. I'm like, how could I not buy it? You got a chameleon powder coat paint job on a Time Crisis.
These are so badass. But I was like one of his first gen customers, and he charged me, I think, $350 each for one of these. I don't know what he's charging these days for them, but this is a real.
I paid $6
for one.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, Ray.
Ray suckered me.
I know he suckered you, man, but at least yours has LEDs on the bottom or something. But
yeah, it's got green LEDs.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah,
like he did a good job on rehabbing those pedals. I mean, they're perfect. It was. I mean, obviously, it's a hefty price, but I mean, it's a piece of history right there that you now have.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely there because they're not making this style anymore. I don't think, right? Especially, yeah. So it's harder to get these parts, especially like traditional old Namco guns. So I really appreciated that. I do have another guest backstage who might be another Lightgun aficionado. We've talked about Sindens, we've talked about Arcade1UP, we talked about Aimtraks, we talked about Gun4IR. I'm really curious what this guy has to say. He's been ducking me so hard, and he finally decided to show up.
Keo.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Keo Duckin. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Oh, thanks for having me. Just had to jump on and see what you guys were up to.
What the hap, dude? Yeah. So Keelan Daikin, for folks that don't know, is a pie master. He's also trash at Marvel vs. Capcom, but that's besides the point. Keo, you want to let the folks know who you are really quickly for folks that don't know?
Yeah, I have a hobby channel. I do fireworks, RC cars, video games, waterproofing, electronics, kind of everything, whatever is my hobby. So,
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Keo motherfucking Daikin, the pie god.
Pie God, you can definitely say that. And one of the most critical people about compatibility for these guns on a Pi, I would say. So that's why I brought Keo in here, because he comes from a different perspective about these modding things. And we're going to eventually talk about Arcade1Up and Time Crisis and get to what the actual thumbnail said. But, you know, I love talking to these guys because they know their shit. I love talking to people that know their shit. These guys are next level. So Keo Daikin, any thoughts on you know, all the guns that we just mentioned and talked about? We spent the last 15 minutes talking about Sinden's, Gun4IR's, the AE Lightgun, Aimtraks, WiiMotes. You've done them all, I feel like. Any thoughts on your preferences, pros and cons from any particular one that you like?
I think like what I like is everybody wants just a one simple solution that works for everything. I don't think everybody wants to buy 3 or 4 different types to get different experiences across every game and every front end.
Yeah.
So you don't want to buy a light gun just for RetroPie. You don't want to buy a light gun just for PC or Batacera. You don't want a light gun that corresponds because it's too dark or too bright in the room. You want something that works. Period. In the story.
That's right. And with that story, then what would you say is the most cross-compatible light gun that you've tested? Putting you on the spot. Yeah.
Mine's. I talked to Retro Lizard about this the other day. Everybody knows which one is my favorite. I still have to go with the WiiRemote.
I was gonna say he's still the simple WiiMote guy. That's the one.
It's the reason because remember the WiiRemote.
Yeah.
When I got some of mines, I got them used for like $9 from GameStop years ago, back in 2009 or so. And you can also use it as a controller across many different devices, even if you don't use it for a light gun. So it has multiple uses. It's not a device where you buy it and you're just going to toss it to the side. It's going to get its use and it's going to get its money's worth.
So so Gummy's Arcade Journey says that there really are, when you're talking about the cheapest version of getting any light gun, it's probably going to be a WiiMote. So if you're looking for a budget build that's still functional and pretty decent, you're right. Like the WiiMote probably is your best bang for your buck. And then the next cheapest one probably would be Aimtraks, right? And then AE light guns and Sinden's are kind of same price.
They're all the same.
I don't know. You know more than I do.
Aimtrak, Sinden, and AE is just right around the same price.
Same price point? Yeah. And then Gun4IR depends on whatever shell you get, right?
My next one would then be the AE light gun in terms of price and everything that it can do. And then I hold that one up there with the Gun4IR. I know the Gun4IR is a little bit more, but I have the AE, then the Gun4, and then kind of everything else after that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, look, we got another Gun King in the chat right now. Brad D says heavy hitters on tonight. I messaged him earlier. Brad, if you want to get in this conversation, because I know he was one of the original Gun Kings that I really liked having on. And Ray hopefully will join us in a little bit. But okay, so before I get into actually talking about Time Crisis arcade guns and ranking them, because on my Gun4IR build that I have here, so I have this is my Launchbox build for Time Crisis and my Big Buck Hunter mod. I have all these different playlists and I put together all the Time Crisis games in a singular build. So this is Time Crisis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's also Crisis Zone. And there's Time Crisis Raising Storm. So there's 7 Time Crisis games out there. Hopefully I'll get to play through a couple of them and rank them. But that's the goal for today. But before I get into doing that, I want to ask both of you your opinion about yesterday's leaks. So yesterday there was a leak, if you didn't hear, about Arcade1Up having a listing for a Time Crisis 1 cabinet. No game list, no nothing. But Retro Lizard, when you hear, again, Arcade1Up, one of the home arcade folks putting together, this is their 3rd light gun now, Time Crisis, thoughts on if they can pull it off, knowing what the Sinden tech is. Any initial thoughts about it?
It better be a jolt.
that's the first thing you're thinking about, right? Like, what's the gun technology going to be like, right?
Yeah, it better be a jolt. Otherwise, it'll just be a Sinden with the recoil on the inside and give you your little snap.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Keo, what is it going to be? What do you feel like about the Arcade1Up Lightgun version of Time Crisis? Is it going to be good, bad? What do you think?
It like Retro Lizard said, it better be a jolt. I can't imagine playing that on a non-recoiled Sinden gun, and then having whatever else that goes along with it. But yeah, it needs to be a jolt.
Yeah, and jolts were PS1 technology if you think about it, right? Like that gun came out around the PS1 era, so it's totally doable. It's not out of the realm. In fact, one of the biggest fans of the jolt, the first time I ever saw it, was this guy, #GunKing. Brad Diedrichs is in the house. What's up, Brad?
Hey guys.
I know Brad couldn't stay away if there was a light gun party, right?
I was drawn to you guys, you know.
What's up, Brad?
I know.
Hey. I'm still getting
What's going on, Brad?
In the new house and whatnot. I don't really have my stream, so I'm just on my phone real quick. But I just wanted to jump in because I got stuff to say. So these leaks with the Time Crisis Cab and everyone's talking about what games are going to be on it and everything like that. It's gonna be it's gonna be weird because the Time Crisis games always worked as single player or dual cabinets or dual screens, which we know that they're not doing. So this might be their first one-player cabinet, outside of in the way shooters go. I know a lot of people are excited about getting two-player like T2 or Buck Hunter like that, but it's not possible, right?
Right.
It's gonna be a little bit weird. Go ahead.
Since it's a one-player game, this might be a single player or a single game cabinet, just like T2. There might not be any other games.
Yeah, you know what? I'm hoping they don't do it like where they made it split screen.
Oh.
Yeah, so if they do too, they because when they did the console, they did a split screen version of a two-player game, so it would be the console port version of it versus the Arcade1Up. So I mean, there's some talk about what if it was single cab and then you can Wi-Fi connect into a second player, and then it would be two separate screens. Because that was the cool thing about Crime Crisis 2. You had your own version of what you were looking at versus what your partner was looking at. You could technically sync up and do that with two separate cabs. We're definitely going to talk about different titles in just a second. And Wolfenose brings up a good point. It better have the hardware to fully run the frame rates, because after Time Crisis 2 and up was a little bit harder to emulate than your standard Time Crisis 1 game. So
Time Crisis 2 couldn't be emulated on MAME. It never really worked.
Exactly. Yeah, you had to run PS2 version, right?
Yep.
Right, and you have to run a 1050 or 1650 to run that Time Crisis 2. It won't run on a 1030. It's too much lag.
Yeah, this is exactly what Mystery Encoder is saying. Is you wonder if they'll do the console port versions instead of the arcade emulated, because right now they're not at PS2 emulation for sure. So that's the question. What is it going to be? How are they going to do that?
Now, even the console version of Time Crisis 2 did have a single screen kind of two-player. It was like a double gun mode.
Yep.
But which was really cool. Yeah, that was really great.
Do that, the double dual gun. So it's funny enough, Time Crisis 2 is a System 23 game. And I know that because I was looking it up recently, because I just bought another System 23 game. My Gunman Wars Big Ass Arcade is a System 23 game, but that system has never been emulated like on MAME or anything like that. So none of the System 23 games are there. System 22 is up and running, like Time Crisis 1 and some other games too. But that's the background for it. But the thing about this cab, if it's a Namco cab, so we know that there's other Namco arcade games. What are some other titles you think would be on this cab? And I'm going to pull up every single Namco arcade game, and I'm going to have you guys help me determine what you guys think could potentially be on this cab. Any guesses so far? Brad, what do you think is going to be on this cab?
Point Blank.
You think not its own cab? Not cool enough?
I honestly think that Keo's onto one thing, is it's going to be just one game. I think that's the way they're actually going to go. But if I could get another game on there from Namco, it would be Point Blank.
Yeah. What about you, Retro Lizard? Any kind of first thoughts on which games you might want to see added to this as well?
I was going to say Point Blank too, but again, it's going to be a single player cab. Point Blank is a two-player game.
Yeah. Keo Daikin, any thoughts?
I honestly don't know. I don't see any titles there that stand out to me, honestly. But the one thing that does catch my attention is if they are able to run Time Crisis with Namco, then that opens up the door for Soul Calibur.
Oh,
you're thinking beyond, right? So he's not even talking about gun games anymore. But this was, I went through a Wikipedia site and I found every arcade title that was made by Namco, a Lightgun title. So you have Bubble Trouble, Golly Ghost 2. I have no idea what that is. There's Cosmo Watt. We have Crisis Zone, which was kind of late 2000s, so that might be something that's plausible. Lucky and Wild. Did you know that Lucky and Wild was a Namco gun game? The driving and shooting game, right? Wouldn't that be fun to put a driving shooting game together? They could do. It's possible. That'd be awesome if they did a Lucky and Wild arcade, like an Arcade1Up Cab. That'd be sweet. Like that'd be really fun to do.
No, they're not big enough for that.
Not yet. But that would be fun.
That would have to be like one of those XL cabs because you have be standing there with a wheel and then you have to stand back with a gun.
And because the driver gun was mounted and then the other one was like actually like loose. So that was pretty interesting. We have Ninja Assault, which came out in 2000. The Point Blanks, there was 1 and 2. I didn't know there was a Point Blank 3 and Point Blank X, but apparently there was some extra Point Blank games that came out. But I remember 1 and 2. There was Raising Storm. That's a newer Time Crisis game. There's Shoot Away, which is an old game. And these two games, Steel Gunner 1 and 2, Namco games that I think are actually highly potentially plausible games that might potentially could be on this cab too. So, those are two games. Did you guys ever play Steel Gunner? Does that mean
Isn't Steel Gunner a positional gun cab?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're pot games. It was a really badass cab, but it's kind of in that same range of Time Crisis 1 style. And then they know that T2 Arcade1Up was no stranger to still using a light gun for a positional game, right? So you can play it with it, whatever.
Here's the question for Time Crisis. Yep. I didn't see any photos or anything. I only heard about the leaks. Is there a pedal?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a pedal. Well, there's no photos yet, but I mean, how would they do it without a pedal?
Yeah, they have to do the pedal. They're probably going to have a very, like a reminiscent of the Outrun pedal, like, something that sticks on the bottom, the riser.
Where you like pull it out.
Yeah,
because you got back a little bit with those guns too.
Right.
Yeah, with their Sinden guns, you definitely have to stand a little further back. So
right. Why are those Sinden guns on the Arcade1Ups better than the actual Sinden guns that are released? Like,
it's all controlled hardware. That's why.
By the light or anything, like they run almost perfectly.
Yeah, I mean it's running exactly the same hardware every single time, software on every single cab. So
exactly, if you think about it, like they were able to in-house calibrate everything, whereas the Sinden light gun that's sold to the public is really kind of opened up for any kind of display or any kind of room lighting or what like that. So I think they were really just able to dial in the sensitivity on the Arcade1Ups in that controlled environment.
Yeah, it would be the same as you just calibrating the gun for one game as opposed to making it multi-purpose.
I'm just catching up with chat in here. What's going on? Mr. Encoder always has a lot to say. I should invite him back in here. We already have one ghost guy not turning on his camera. Mr. Encoder should come in here and talk
T2,
about
Wolfenhaus has a point there. T2 has emulation issues. There's sound.
That's true. That's true. Doesn't run full frame rate either. It has something to do with that border that they added in there too. So out of this list, what was that?
Because the border sucks.
It shrinks that 17-inch screen even further, right? You're losing an inch on both sides if it's a half-inch border around the whole thing. So you're running a 16-inch monitor essentially at that point, which is crazy.
Yeah. So look at some of the stuff you have on this list. You've got where I was specifically looking at Vampire Knight and Ninja Assault. I've got those on my gun cab, and I thought, what if they included two guns, but the signature game was one player only, but then some of the other games were two player? Because Ninja Assault, Vampire Knight, a lot of those games are two player, but there's no duck mechanics, so they can have two players on a single screen.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Be a little bit simpler instead of so the one pedal for the one player Time Crisis, but other games for something else. Because if you start doing Time Crisis 2, right, then you're gonna need to have two pedals, which is another accessory, two guns or something.
They're just not gonna do it. Well, we can be safe to say they're not gonna do any of the Time Crisis.
Yeah, so that's go ahead.
Link a cab together. They're not doing Time Crisis 2.
Yeah, for sure. So that. Go ahead, Keo.
Hey, quick question, Brad. Did you get that Delta 6?
I did not. Delta 6 for those at home was a Kickstarter project. Like I think it started PS3 era, and it was like this new revolutionary light. It wasn't really a light gun, really per se. It was a gun peripheral used for first-person shooters that had all kinds of analog sticks and motion activation, aiming, and all this crazy stuff. And I was a very early adopter. They took my money, and I never got the product. And I'm heartbroken. And it changed hands a bunch of times, and now it's resurfaced on eBay. A few people had them or reselling them. And Keo sent me a couple of links. It's like, hey, you can finally get one. I can't do it. I've been burned.
Yeah. It's basically a light gun that you can use with first-person shooter games like Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever, and you can walk around, move, and actually shoot at the screen. Kind of like the one shot I did. It's a little different, but same concept.
What's the deal with the one shot? Was that?
I haven't heard from him. So for those of you not familiar, I was sent a prototype of the one-shot light gun. It's an adaptive controller light gun, so you can move around like an Xbox controller, and then actually shoot at people on the screen by turning it around, and it looks like a full-fledged gun. I love the concept of it. The only issue with it is the Kickstarter program launched, and the guns were supposed to be going out this month, and I haven't heard back from them. I had some back and forth with them and just basic conversation, just trying to get minds working, but they've really been hit and miss. And so there's been a number of backers, but no word from them so far. The technology is great. Now that device, it is a true light gun because it has a light actually shooting at the screen, and there's a camera. I think it's it's 120 frame per second camera that picks up that sensitivity.
What is this called again? I want to pull it up really fast just for folks.
The one-shot light gun, one-shot adaptive controller. So you can also use it as a light gun. Now they do have a video of it working with Technoparrot, so it does work. I haven't figured it out, but the only downfall about it is it's proprietary to whatever files they make for the game. So I think there's like 4 games right now it only works for, which would be Resident Evil Village, and there's 3 other games, Cyberpunk 2077. So without those files, you can't just randomly use it for any game you want to. So even if they went belly up and stopped supporting it, it's only limited to whatever files they make the gun accessible to.
All right. Is it this thing right here? Am I looking at the right thing?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. So
this
So it's a controller with the laser attached to it. So you're playing games, and then you turn it sideways.
It feels great. I love it. But kind of hard to get it set up right now.
Keo, does it have an eye, or does it just go off the TV like a controller?
It's wireless.
Yeah, so there's like no eye it's pointing at or anything.
Yeah, it has a infrared light or something in it.
Okay. Oh, it's built in.
Yeah, it's built into the gun.
Nice.
Dang. All right.
It's accurate. It's cool. It feels great. I mean, but
you know what blows my mind is you can use a remote or remotes now. You get an OLED TV and
that's true. Yeah.
House. Why can't you just use the sensor? Why can't somebody invent something with a light gun to use the sensor on your TV so we don't have to use anything else? And you can just point it at the TV and it's going to work like your air mount.
Because there's drag on that. It's not accurate yet, but I get where you're going at.
I don't have any drag on mine.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I got an LG OLED.
Now,
TV.
they had some.
Yeah, are the LG remotes actually like pointing devices, or is it using kind of the accelerometer feature like you're seeing in the Nintendo Switch?
I have no idea, but I know that it's.
I thought it was the accelerometer feature.
Because you can like turn it on and just start moving it around, facing down at the floor.
You know, like the old days where you could play Wii bowling by like flicking your wrist, not actually standing up. It's more of a simulated pointing device. If you guys recently saw, Retro Ralph was talking about like, are they possibly going to put that mechanic into the Switch version of the House of the Dead port? And if so, that's kind of a deal breaker for a lot of people because it's not a great experience. And that might be why you're not seeing that technology going anywhere.
All right. I have another guest backstage right now who I've always wanted to chat with. I've had him on my channel one other time when he was talking about how amazing he is at pinball. But if you don't know, I'm really curious about him in the light gun tech world. The one, Mr. Wolfenose, man. What's up, man?
What's up, gang?
What's up,
yeah,
What's going on, Wolfenose?
For folks that don't know, I know, look, Keo Daikin and Wolf, the two like big names I saw very, very early on in my retro gaming career, and was like, I never thought I'd be talking to both of you guys. That's awesome. But Wolf, tell people who you are, man, just really quickly.
Well, other than Kong's mentioning my pinball, I guess, and trivia skills with someone we won't name because he's having some issues. But, I'm an image creator in the community. Been around 6 years now.
Yeah, one of the best image creators ever, man. Give yourself some more credit because
I appreciate it, man.
Set the bar for me coming in. I think your 32 gig image, the Hursty Wolf image, it was my bar for a long, long time.
That was my very first Pi build, was using that exact image.
Right? 32 Hursty Wolf, it was good. Sorry, Supreme Team. I mean, you do good stuff too, but
Hey, I worked with Supreme. They're good. I mean, their base is good stuff. So
cool. Have you guys ever collaborated, Keo and Wolf? I know you guys are both like
yeah, we go back and forth.
Yeah, we exchange a lot of information. I think Wolf knows just go ahead and does a lot of stuff, and I'm doing my own thing. So
awesome. Well, cool. Great to have you here,
time, though.
Wolf. So tell me, do you have any input or insight into our topic today? We're just talking about the Arcade1Up Time Crisis Cab. When you saw it, any thoughts on the Lightgun community?
I'm excited for it, but the fact is they better have the hardware because those frame rates are like I mentioned in the chat, you're going to have an issue with some sort of SBC solution that they're currently using. I mean, they're going to need something bigger. Let's have something in the pipe. But, especially like Keo said, if they're going to run Soul Calibur eventually, they're going to need better hardware as well on top of Blitz. So, I mean, that's
all the games that were leaked yesterday are actually powerhouse games in terms of the emulation power. MVC2, getting that to run perfectly on its own and adding online play out of without any.
It's hard enough getting full frame rate on the Pi with MVC2.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it takes a little tweaking here and there.
Yeah, my main issue with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is if they do try to get that running, I hope they test it when all three characters come out fighting and hitting, because that causes the biggest drain and strain on the game. Because they could have the whole game running if it's just 1 versus 1 or maybe an assist running fine for the entire time. But that assist type can lock up the entire game.
Yeah, for sure. We don't know. We don't want to be the beta testers for that. So I think that's why there haven't been any formal announcements yet. I think it's a ways out still. I think it's possible. It's on the roadmap. It just comes down to whether or not it's going to be the right chipset that's affordable for us to get it.
Bringing up Mystery Encoder's point, though, he's saying
this one.
He's basically saying they plan on using the PS1 emulation. I don't see them using that. They're going to use the arcade emulation if they're going to use anything.
The PS1, there's a huge drop off from people who remember the arcade version. They're going to tell that they're on the PS1 version.
Yeah.
Everything that I've seen so far, at least for the main title, is that they are trying to be as arcade accurate as possible. Like they're going back to source code and trying to get it to work. But yeah, that would be a big cop out if they did console stuff for like the main title. Maybe for Time Crisis 2, maybe, right? Because we know that that's the version that would work well, but who knows? This is all speculation and it's not real until it's real. So that's what it is. Mystery Encoder saying they're hoping they're using Code Mystics for Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Probably will.
I am too. They did KI well. So, I mean, there it is. I mean, while we've already talked about it, let's just quickly jump over to the other two big announcements, Cap. So we talked about Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Any big thoughts on MVC2 Keo Daikin? You're going to get your ass whipped on that by me later on too at some point.
Oh, you wish. Hey, you invited me over for everything else except that, huh? I wonder why.
Dude, I'm ready. I'm ready for that too. Anytime. We just got to do our regular FT10 and MVC1, and then we can do MVC2. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I hope they made some improvements from the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions, because there was a delay playing people online with that. I mean, I still play it online every now and then. And you could tell it's probably like maybe a 1 or 2 millisecond delay for the person not hosting. So if they can get that down right, that'll be fine. But we'll just have to see, because that's the type of game where people even now are still finding combo sets. Yeah. And so my personal opinion is, and I've shared this with you guys before, you don't know if a game is being running correctly or emulated right unless you perform every possible combo with every possible character across every possible stage to see what results you're truly getting.
I heard Mrs. Kongs can beat Keo though. So
yes, probably everybody can beat Keo Duckin. That guy doesn't want to play me at all. Don't you, Keo? No, he just wants to talk about light guns, but someday it'll happen.
Now, I want to point out that this time a year, or definitely 2 years ago, could you guys see them releasing Killer Instinct? You know,
No.
Or T2. I mean, you know, like with the flaws, you know, all flaws included, they do come a long way. You know, they keep releasing 20 versions of Pac-Man, but then they come out of the gate and all of a sudden, you know, they're emulating Killer Instinct. So, you know,
versions of Street Fighter too.
Yeah, right.
Look at this clown saying he'll be there in 30 minutes. We'll be done at the show by then, Rake. Sorry. I was trying to talk to some gun kings here, but you don't make the cut because you can't make it. He's having dinner with his wifey. No, I'm just kidding. He's helping out.
You will call out everybody.
What could you do? Calling out everybody.
Oh,
you said, hey, come join. I do what I can. I just want to have a good conversation with people. It's been fun. So my main topic, well, I guess let's talk about the last cap. So we talked about MPC2. Any of you guys Blitz fans? I know that's a huge thing for lots of folks in the community. For me, it's like down here for you. I don't have a lot of nostalgia playing it, but
that might be the second cab I pay full price for.
Really? You're a big Blitz fan?
I'm not a huge Blitz fan, but I like that game a lot. That would be like my go-to sports game when I'm playing on my arcade.
Yeah, I'm a big football fan. I love it. I mean, it's a great game, but it's just not on top of my list.
You know? Brad, how about you? Is it a buy?
Well, one to buy though. I can't wait for that to come out.
Say that one more time.
Dragon's Lair. That's the one.
Okay.
Or for the first time ever.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the cap shape if they get it down and everything. Brad, are you getting both of those? Are you getting a Dragon's Lair?
Well, I'm not getting the Dragon's Lair just because my first build was a Dragon's Lair theme, and you know, I can't have her getting jealous on me. But also I'm running a little low on room. I've got a couple projects planned for 2022, and it's already like taking up my footprint space. But when they first announced Dragon's Lair, I really did think I was going to get that one. And if it was between that and NFL Blitz, I would definitely be getting Dragon's Lair.
Nice. All right, can you read the super chat for me?
Oh yeah, sorry, only one question. Why is Keo ducking on the stream now when the fight games are all put away? Just saying, not a severe case of bitch eyes. I don't know. I'm always around playing fighters. I'm on like every other night playing.
I know you're just not playing with me on the title that we needed a rematch.
I'm just not playing the games that are 20 years old that you guys have barely just now discovered.
We've been playing it for a while, man. The community is hot into Marvel vs. Capcom. Out of all the fighting games that are out in the Arcade1Up space, it's literally the only one that has lobbies full every night. So there's still an avid fan base for it. But what can I say? Thank you for the super chat, Akuma Rev. So someday Keo Duckin will come face me. For folks that don't know why I keep calling him Keo Duckin, the short story is he beat me one time. Let's
talk about ducking though, Kong. I keep challenging you to an outrun race live.
Do you?
Yeah, I've asked you like 10 times in groups. I'm like, yo, let's do this, man. Me and you, let's just go live. We can't link up, but we can start the game at the same time. First person to beat level 1 wins.
All right. They're outrun one, the very first one, original.
No, outrun 2.
Outrun 2. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm down. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's go live. Let's just do it. Let's just film it live and just call it a day.
All right. Race King. Challenge accepted. Flags dropped. Done. All right, Keo Duckin. When are we having our matchup right now? Let's make.
I guess after Joel puts you under.
Okay, we're just gonna have a challenge Kong day, and I'm gonna bring Retro Lizard for racing. I'm gonna bring Keo Duckin coming on. I'm gonna challenge Brad and Dragon's Lair. I don't know.
Well, you know what the ultimate challenge is for Kong? Who can get the better high score in Star Wars?
Oh, that would be fun. Although I'm so terrible at those games, but that would be fun. I don't think I've ever competitively played any of the Star Wars games.
The Star Wars King is terrible at the Star Wars games.
You're calling me out. Yeah.
You know, if they do a premium version of a re-release in the Star Wars cab, you know they're doing online leaderboards.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, if they re-release that cab, I might buy that too. The full size.
A full size. Oh
if they release that cab, I think I might buy it again.
Right.
I would too. It would be great for business.
Considering the fact they're going for like $900, to $1,000 on eBay.
Okay.
Brad, let's do a Star Wars trilogy challenge, high score.
Oh, I'm game. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good.
No, I lived to play in that game.
I got a question for Wolfenos.
Go ahead.
What's the minimum system specs an SBC can run NFL Blitz?
Oh man, Even the Pi can't run the arcade version of that at all. Basically, you're going to need if you're going to run something like that, you might have to have like a Mister or even a NUC, like a form of a NUC for it, because that's a heavy duty game. I mean, it's not. It's 3D intensive.
CAG, Killer Arcade Games made a custom Blitz cabinet a little while ago, but he did a full PC build in it.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to figure out what is the difference obviously the PC can run it between that versus the SBC. Like, what's lacking from an SBC that causes
SBC is the GPU stack mainly. That's the main problem with something like the Pi. It's getting better. I mean, with time, but I mean, it's not at the point where it can run something full blast. So,
and not every PC can run Blitz. I use my lower end builds are dual core 2 PCs. And if I'm using the Windows version of that, I can't run Blitz. But if I switch over to Linux and Batacera, I can run Blitz perfectly, and on 4 gigabytes with a dual core 2. So that game definitely it's a high demand game for the systems.
But is it also too more on the emulator end? Because I know sometimes with emulation, performance can fix a lot of those things.
Yeah, don't agree with Mystery Encoder there either. The Pi 4 is actually pretty solid for what it has. I mean, now it can mostly fully run N64 games too. So,
it's in fighting words now. So you got to get your ass in here to talk.
Don't agree with that.
You don't know.
Well, Wolf, it can run an N64, but you're tweaking it though a lot.
Yeah, but it runs though. That's the point.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's not going to run out of the box.
Right.
But
if you tweak it,
with tweaking it works.
Yeah, I'm running Dreamcast N64 on my Pi 4, and it didn't take a lot of tweaking. It's not really heavy hitting stuff.
No, you just have to downscale the resolution overall in order to get better performance.
Yeah, and it'll run without it. It just you can just optimize it a bit.
I mean, Keo's had Wii games running on the Pi 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It can be done. Mr. Encoder saying, don't agree with it, bench it. FTPA could have re-engineered the Naomi hardware. So, so talking about MBC2, still something else that they could be doing. But Wolf, any other final thoughts on kind of you brought in some technical things to this. So out of all the things, do you have concerns about really that's your biggest concern?
Yeah, it's just we'll see what the case is. I mean, I hope hope it works because I mean it's good to see more come out. But I mean, with 3D intensive stuff, they're going to need to come step up to the plate. That's all.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I was gonna do some demos of the Time Crisis games, but I feel like it's more fun talking to this panel here, talking about it. So do you guys actually want to see any of these games played? Like, have you played a lot of the other later Time Crisis games? I feel like I stay stuck on 1 and 2, and I don't play 3, 4, and 5. Like, Brad, have you spent a lot of time playing the later Time Crisis games?
Yeah, actually, I just went out of the way to get every Time Crisis game there is on my gun cabinet a couple months ago. Just so I could make a video saying all Time Crisis games. But I found myself really liking, for just dropping in and playing, I actually liked playing Crisis Zone and Raising Storm a lot. So some of the PS3 era ports, they're fun to just drop in and play.
All right, I don't think I've ever played Crisis Zone on this cab before. That's the one with the Uzi setup, right?
Yeah, and actually, it wasn't even a Time Crisis game originally. It was a standalone game, and then they slapped the Time Crisis logo onto it, and made it part of the franchise.
Oh, nice. What was it before? You said
it was just a standalone game called Crisis Zone.
Oh, okay, got it. And they just used the Crisis kind of not moniker for it. All right, so I'm gonna try it out here, test it out using the Gun4IR Tech. Joel, do you have a favorite Time Crisis game out of all the sets?
5.
The dual pedals? You have double
I like
pedals?
left and right effect. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, cool. All right, Keo Daikin, what about you? Have you played all these games?
Yeah, I like 4 and 5.
Why?
Just the action, just the graphics, just feel more alive.
That's why.
No. Why? Oh, see, look, Ray was trying to help me figure this out earlier, but my pedal is actually acting as my pause button right now. So, but yeah.
So how many of you guys remember Time Crisis Project Titan?
PS1?
Yeah, PS1. Yeah.
That's a fun one too. Do you have?
Yeah, that one first was a PS only game. Never played.
Got one on your cab?
Yeah.
Badass. That's fun. All right. What about you, Wolf and Nose? Do you have a favorite?
1 and 2, man. It's nostalgia.
I know that's me too. I'm like, I can play those games, but I feel like I just get most bang for my buck playing Time Crisis 1 over and over again. And I feel like this is what most people are going to remember and what it's going to be on the cab. I think it's going to be this. I honestly think it might be like Steel Gunner 1 or 2 with the tool gun setup and Wi-Fi play connectivity for something else. Who knows? I think that's my kind of go-to. I did put a little tier list, but without playing through every single game, I don't think I can actually rank them. So I might change the title of my stream later on just to say, hey, we talked about gun games, light gun games, and the rest of the Arcade1Up leak. So did Brad just leave? Somebody left. All right.
Probably so.
He just dropped off. All right, I'm going to go ahead and kind of close out right now, but I thought this was super fun. Wolf, any last things you want to mention and say for folks? Are you still doing streams? I know you used to do pinball streams for a while.
Here and there. Like I might possibly be on Glenn's stream tomorrow night. I guess he's looking for somebody. Yeah, we'll see about that. So.
Very cool. Are you ever gonna make another pie image again? Are you in retirement?
Not for the 4. I think for the 4, I'm retired right now.
For the 4, retired.
Batocero is pretty much, I think, the top for me as far as what I, working with that. I think I had a lot of fun working with that, honestly. So
yeah. Retro Lizard, you're really into Batocero too, right?
What's that? Sorry.
No, I was talking to Retro Lizard. Like you've been doing a lot of Batocero builds, right?
Yeah. I switched from the Pi to PCs with Batocero.
Yeah.
I built an image on that. I love Batocero. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great platform.
Yeah.
Right. Very cool. All right, Retro Lizard, while you're talking, what do you got going on?
Just cabs upon cabs. Tomorrow is the big day for me for releasing my that racing cab tomorrow.
Nice.
And see, Brad,
nice.
Take care. But yeah, the racing cab's coming out tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. I have 2 versions with back box and without back box. And obviously, one's cheaper than the other, but there will be 2 of each listed on my website tomorrow for sale for people to order. And, fingers crossed, I sell all 4. That would be awesome.
What's your website?
Sweet.
And Buy Stuff, big shout out to Buy Stuff because they're really letting me take this opportunity, on behalf of them too, to exclusively sell their racing cab for a while until they can catch up on orders and then list that online. So I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity that they're giving me on that one too.
That's awesome. Plus you get to showcase it in a full build and everything too. That's really cool, man. So hope it goes well. Where can people find you? Is it just retrolizard.com or
retrolizardcustomarcades.com and then Retro Lizard Custom Arcades on Facebook too.
Yeah, check them out. Retro Lizard. All right, Kyo Daikin, what you got going on? Kyo Duckin.
I'm working on another Pi image for the Pi 2 and the 3B and 3B Plus.
Old school.
Kyo's going really retro.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of people were asking me about it. And then I have a lot of older videos, PC builds and stuff that I need to upload that I did like 2 years ago and never got around to uploading it. So got those. And then, but I have a lot of good other projects and partnerships in the works. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah. This is funny. Mr. Unicoder says, if I like you, Joel, he'd buy one, but you're an asshole. So that's just love.
Fuck you.
That's just love right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all right. That's how he just tells people that he likes you. Brad, what do you got going on? So you've moved into a new place. You're all set up.
Yeah, new place, new space. Got projects lined up. I actually, it's en route now, but you know how this is. It's going to take a couple weeks, but I am getting my first full-size arcade machine, and when it comes in, I'm going to be doing a video showcasing it. It's going to be a little surprise, but it's something from my past from the 80s that not a lot of people have been talking about, so I'm excited about that. And I'm hoping to get with Joel and look at that racing build of his in a couple months.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sweet. I might be doing my own thing with Buy Stuff pretty soon too. So look for that. They've been reaching out to me. I helped them out with their yoke build, and I might be doing something fun that's Star Wars related. Something. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good one. Okay, yeah. Thanks for spilling the beans, Wolf knows. But yeah, there's not much else left to do, right? But yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Except getting that beat down from me.
Oh, Kyo Duckin.
Oh,
all right, so this is gonna happen. We're gonna set a date. I'm gonna race Retro Lizard. I'm gonna fight Kyo Daikin. I'm gonna play Brad in Star Wars Trilogy, and I'm gonna beat Wolf Nose in pinball. Sonic Spinball, because I can't beat you in a real pinball machine. So
winner plays Rev at MVC2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do something like that. All right. Thank you all for joining the stream today. It was great talking to you guys. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
said I know